Natural light is overrated. I've honed my night photography so much, I'd take a dark stadium over a sunny one, and I'll show you exactly why. What's up, everybody? Jaron Fritz, aka FrizzyVisuals. I'm the creative director of Colorado State Athletics with multiple years of professional sports and photography experience. And tonight, we're under the lights for our second home game against UTSA. I'll show you every photo with its exact settings, break down the pros and cons of night shooting, and walk you through the full game flow. And instead of talking at a desk, I'm taking you on the field, covering the stadium walk to final whistle, so you see the full process unfold in real time. Kickoffs at 8 p.m., the ram walk starts at dusk, and we've got work to do before the full darkness sets in. Along the way, you'll see how I handle 3 types of shots that define night games: portraits, starbursts, and action. But before all that, let's hit the ram walk, catch warm-ups, and lock in for the runout. The sky is blanketed with clouds, which actually gives us some nice diffuse light. Four-legged Cam is a certified chill bro. I also slapped on the 35mm just to grab some wider shots than we pulled last week. And this shot makes me glad I did. Never did I think a shot of the day contender would appear in the ram walk, but I really love this photo. Shooting on that wide angle lens allows you some space to breathe when capturing cool moments like these. Quick ram walk shots to set the tone. Now into warm-ups under fading diffuse light. Keep an eye on those bottom right settings because the night is closing in fast. There's just something cool about having a massive empty stadium sitting directly behind you. 35mm down, white mamba in play. Let's get some warm-ups. The reflective gold on white is definitely an aggressive fashion statement, but it kind of looks good in this frame. Love me a good detail shot. Also love these glasses. I might need to cop a pair. Helmet or no helmet, Edmondson always looks mad intense. The sky in the back turned dark blue seconds before the rain hit. I grabbed this QB1 shot and then sprinted into the tunnel to take cover. While I was in the tunnel, hiding from the rain, I knew I had to lock in on an updated tunnel shot. I've been exposing for the sky in the past D1 photographer episodes. Good results, but not exactly where I wanted to be, so I decided to run it back. I started low, all the players running out, total miss. Tried high, same deal. For a second, I felt like a doomed photographer, but just as I was about to pack it all in, I dropped low again and Taj came running out late. Total game changer, a super solid frame. I was even lucky enough to catch this shot directly after. Back to back bangers from the tunnel. I think we finally dialed in this spot. And if you're wondering why I've already got so many black and white frames, well, it was a gloomy, dark day, and from a documentation standpoint, it just seemed to tell the story. But what wasn't gloomy, the runout shot. This time, we're posted in what feels like a prime location directly in the middle of the tunnel, trying to frame up the fire stacks in the background. As the boys charged out, the rain started pouring, and I started banging that shutter. And the rain definitely added an extra element to these shots. And that last run out shot hit different, rain glowing under the lights, player framed up in the middle, straight up one of my favorites. These frames were a big step up from our home opener. I liked last week's concept, but the rain made this wide angle player focused approach way better overall. Up until now, it's been dusk aside from the runout where I was just banging the shutter, but now with night mode has been activated. The most common night shots can really be boiled down to 3 types: portraits, starbursts, and action. These are the frames that make or break a night game at the basic level. And because I shoot fully manual, you'll see my settings shift with every shot as the story unfolds. And as always, we will start off the game with a couple portraits straight away. I love that sweat detail. The best part about shooting portraits under the lights is you usually don't have to mess with your settings too much, no matter the angle. Here is a perfect example. The first frame was shot high and through people, the second a low angle and wide open. Same exact settings on both, thanks to that even stadium lighting. And because the lighting is so consistent, I expose for the highlights, which pushes shadows deeper and creates a stronger contrast, like this darkness casted over his face. And exposing for those highlights gave me another shot of the day contender, and honestly, my favorite from this game. Super simple frame, but the darkness makes it work. The beard blocks the light, stacks on the shadow, and just makes this shot tough. And really, that's the beauty of portraits under the lights. You can move around, change angles, and the settings stay pretty steady. But when it comes to starbursts, that's where things shift a little. I only grabbed a few this game, but they're always worth talking about. If you're not familiar with a starburst filter, it's basically a lens filter with tiny grid cuts that make the lights dance across the frame. I'm using the PrismLens FX starburst filter. Use code FRIZZY for 15% off. Blowing the lights out with the starburst filter is an awesome stylistic switch. It gives your gallery an entirely new look. Sometimes it works best subtle, like this coat shot. Other times you frame it up and go all in. Starbursts are a once in a while flex, not an every frame thing, but if you're really trying to test me, I guess I could run it the whole game. Let me know. Of course, we can't talk about football night photography without mixing in some action shots. The lights, the speed, the chaos is what makes night games so fun to capture. And just like with portraits and starbursts, I'll walk you through the settings on every frame so you can see exactly how I handle action under the lights. Shutter speed and ISO at night trip a lot of new photographers up. People think you need 1/2500 to freeze action, but that's just not true. For almost all my night action at CSU, I'm around 1/800 shutter with ISO capped at 1250. And even with a shutter of 800, I'm still able to freeze action without introducing grain. And one of the more fun action sequences came in the aftermath of this interception from Robert Edmondson. Celebration obviously broke out on the field, so I rushed over to the defensive sideline, caught him yelling at the crowd, then a few seconds later smiling on the phone with the DC to what I think is his first career interception. Just a fun series of action and emotion. We started coming back on the last two drives of the game and what was to be the game-tying drive by our backup quarterback. He was doing his victory walk back to the bench and I was able to snap a couple frames. And that's a wrap on my settings, angles, and overall approach to shooting a night game. Sure, a lot of the magic happens in the post edit, but sometimes it just helps out to see the raw settings that make these shots possible, so I hope that added another useful element to the video. A shorter episode this week, mainly because of how the game played out. We ended up losing a close one, going for that 2-point conversion at the end, and most of the fireworks came late in the fourth, so not a ton of theatrics throughout. If you want to see exactly how to edit black and white frames like this game, check out last week's video where I broke it all down. And if you're into more behind the scenes sports photography content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's next. Until next time.